CampbellRiver.com, bringing to you the 5 things you didn't know about the Campbell River when you're snorkeling with the salmon. Number 1, Roderick Haig Brown was the first person to snorkel on the Campbell River. He actually had a great purpose for doing this because he was very concerned about what was going to happen to the salmon and the river itself if they built a dam. So he started to snorkel the river on a regular basis, and he kept intricate details on all kinds of things, like where the gravel was placed, where the salmon were spawning, and all kinds of data that now they use on a regular basis. They still snorkel the river, and it's been a good 60, 70, 80 years since Roderick did the first river snorkel. So now we have all this data from all these years that is highly accurate and very intimate. So we know an awful lot more about the Campbell than we know about a lot of other rivers. Number 2, the Campbell River is tidal affected right up to the second bridge. That's about 1.5 kilometers from the actual estuary itself. And you can really take note when you're snorkeling that you can see the thermocline in between the salt water, which rests on the bottom, and the fresh water that rests on the top. Now this is important because you want to be snorkeling the river when the tide is coming in, pretty much at the top of the flood, because that salt water is also bringing in the fish. And that's where you're going to see the majority of them in the bottom end of the river here. That'll be the first time they're in. They go back out, then they start coming in again. So they get acclimatized to the river and the fresh and the salt water as they go up and down. So time your snorkel on a flood tide. Number 3, like with any river, the Campbell River's volume fluctuates. Now we're sitting right here and we're looking at about 40 cubic meters per second going down the river right now, but it can fluctuate between 26 cubic meters per second and 700 cubic meters per second, which is what you're going to see when we have some really heavy rain events. So come on down to the Campbell River and take a look when it's raining, because this place is going to have a lot of water in it. Number 4, rivers are in constant motion, and with that motion the river actually moves gravel down the river itself. Now we're standing in a bed of gravel right now. Well, when you dam a river, you don't have that gravel coming down, naturally speaking. So the Campbell River is artificially planted with gravel, and that's done by conservation groups such as the Campbell River Salmon Foundation and the BC Conservancy organization. Now what ends up happening is that all this river congregates in certain areas and actually changes the course of the river, which is really quite natural. This is not something that's man-made, but it offers the salmon's redds in order to build their nest to lay their eggs. Number 5, we have 5 species of salmon that come home to the Campbell River to spawn. The first species that comes in happens around mid-July to late July, and those are the pink salmons. Now they can come in really big numbers, but they're quite a small fish. They're a 2-year fish, so a 3 to 5 pound is pretty normal for a pink. Then we get a little run of coho, and right after the coho, in come the Chinooks. Now the Chinooks will run right up to early September, maybe mid-September, and after they're done, we see the chum. Now the chum they can be pretty big. They're about a 4 to 5 year cycle and get up to about they can get up to about 40 pounds. So they're a pretty good sized fish. We also have resident steelhead. Now steelhead can actually live in the river for a couple of years before they go out to sea, and their life cycle can be as long as 9 years. Contrary to popular belief, we do not have a run of sockeye in the Campbell River. Although we've seen sockeye in the river, they're kind of on the wrong path. We see them very rarely. They're really striking because they're very red. So come on down and experience this, because this is one heck of a primal experience.